Thank you. So yeah, we're really fortunate this evening that we've got Claire Tilstone from as head of advertising from Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, so the MHRA, as well as Taylor Meanwell from the Committee of Advertising Practice. So as described at the beginning, the kind of sister organisation of the Advertising Standards Authority. I think, Claire, I'll probably hand over to yourself in the first instance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ros, for that introduction, and thank you, Duncan. I'm delighted to be here tonight to speak to you all about advertising a pharmacy service from the MHRA's perspective. I'm just going to dive right in and talk about the wide definition on what can be caught in scope as an advertisement for a medicine, because I think this is really important for you to bear in mind in your marketing campaigns, and it's important for the later examples that I'm going to show you as well. And really the clue is in the definition there, because it contains the word anything, if anyone was in any doubt as to how broad that definition is, because it relates to all means and media to promote a product. And this is outlined in the legislation, and I have a link for you at the end if you wish to delve into that. But perhaps more helpfully, it's interpreted in the Blue Guide, which many of you may already be familiar with. So please do continue to consult that document. And if you haven't before, please do consult it. Within the Blue Guide, we have specific guidance on how to advertise a treatment service if you run one of the services that may lead to the supply of a prescription-only medicine, which I'll abbreviate now to a POM. There are some key provisions in the law that I've outlined here. There isn't time this evening to talk about these in detail, but please do look at these more closely in your own time. Key to tonight's discussion, of course, is the legal prohibition on promoting a POM to the public. And that's a really, really important safeguard in law. It's there to safeguard the consultation as being really important between a professional and a patient, and that being the most suitable means to determine the best treatment for that patient, taking into account, yes, the patient views, but the professional decision making, as Duncan has said, in relation to a range of treatment options that may be available. Just some high-level principles about how to encourage consumers to your door without falling foul of that prohibition. We're talking here simply about promoting the service that you provide, providing information on conditions and management. And within that, we would like you to think about all your materials in your campaigns. Again, coming back to that wide definition and thinking about the huge amount of content that can be quite easily generated online with derivatives as well in ad libraries and things. And please also think about everyone else in the business and anyone that you work with commercially. The regulations define a person, so anyone can be in breach of the legislation. And it's important not to implicate anyone associated with your business. Advertisement is an advertiser's responsibility. The law is very clear on that. So just drilling down a little bit more, but the key premise here is not to present casual browsers with information for specific prescription medicines, not on social media, not in sponsored links, and not on website homepages. And on homepages, that includes any hover text, any small print at the bottom of websites, any customer testimonials that are being pulled in from other websites, and any names of prescription medicines in website URLs. We do not object to further web pages that a consumer chooses to access, providing non-promotional information on specific medicines if it's a balanced overview of potential options in line with the product's patient information leaflet or summary of product characteristics to help that patient come to a consultation from an informed point of view. So where does the MHRA fit into this picture? Well, we are delegated by ministers to safeguard advertising and maintain public trust in medicines, and we do this in various ways. We're obliged to consider complaints, but we can also scrutinise on request, publish or proposed advertising. And when we do look at a complaint, we're looking very carefully at the case on its own merits, looking at the facts available from the complainants and the advertiser's case put back to them. We handle these anonymously and we publish a summary on Gov UK when completed. We're looking at the public health implications and the risks, and we're trying to take a view on the impact of the advertisement on patient safety. So context is really important. So with the complaints that we've seen recently that have been of concern, yes, as we've discussed tonight, many of these are pharmacies or pharmacists working in a business, and many of the advertisers in breach are operating at a distance, as we've heard, where risk is higher anyway. And of course, the key product of concern at the moment is weight loss medicines. We have a small but significant number of advertisers that appear to show a lack of learning from errors and a failure to take a wider, holistic look at internal marketing practices when something has been identified as having gone wrong. Again, going back to that idea of wider public health impact and the wide definition of an advertisement and the advertiser being responsible for that action. The work is very much ongoing in lots of different types of advertising, and some of this work is in conjunction with our colleagues at the ASA and the Committee on Advertising Practice, as well as other regulators. And while I'm talking through these, I've collated here for you some copy of some of the ads that we've seen recently, which I think when I reflected on it like this, it really hit home to me the impact on public health of current narratives in weight loss advertising and how the balance is too far skewed generally to leading patients to request a prescription medicine rather than highlighting the service. So we've got plenty of examples of complaints for home pages, including mobile versions. Home pages are not defunct or irrelevant or apparently bypassed. I think they're still very much in play. We also have plenty of complaints for social media material and other push content, and you're probably going to hear a bit more about that from my colleague at CAP shortly, and the enforcement notice that is in operation to try to prevent that particular type of advertising. I also wanted to highlight problems with printed materials still, given the wide definition of distance selling. We have people producing material that's highlighting POMs in print material, so posters, leaflets, flyers distributed locally, even a pull-up banner in a shopping centre. And they're highlighting specific POMs and driving people to local pharmacies in hub models, but also online via use of QR codes in the printed material. We also have had problematic digital advertisements in areas of high footfall, such as airport departure lounges. And we've also received concerns about TV adverts and indirect promotion of prescription medicines. We've seen some business owners featured on TV lifestyle programs and in print media columns talking about prescription treatments. And it's really important, if you have any sort of profile, to take care where there's a direct link to supply of a medicine that you're highlighting, particularly if it's your supply. We are also concerned about free samples of medicines to the public that are given as part of weight loss packages or care packages. There's a very clear prohibition on the supply of samples to the public for promotional purposes, so no free medicines. And we're still concerned about off-label promotion of diabetes medicines for weight loss. We don't permit any discussion of this in any material that may be being accessed for those looking for it, because we wouldn't consider it factual and balanced, because those medicines have not been assessed for safety, quality and efficacy in a weight loss context. We also have a growing frequency of direct-to-consumer emails, and I've highlighted two here for you in white that we received. These are not permitted to those registered with your service, and they should not be used as a means to solicit any specific prescription or a repeat prescription. We also have a concern about relationships with third parties, and Kieran's just talked about doing due diligence with commercial relationships that you have with other parties. And please, if you're working with content creators, please make sure you map out the risks associated with this and that they understand the advertising rules as well. We'd strongly encourage you to check all your commercial relationships to ensure you're not implicated in a breach. Most complaints are resolved voluntarily through cooperation with the advertiser. And we would again strongly encourage you to look internally at all your operating procedures within the spirit of the law and the guidance. If there's no resolution, we can resort to our statutory powers on behalf of ministers, as outlined here. And ultimately, if we can't seek compliance, the end of the road could be an unlimited fine or 2 years imprisonment for an advertiser issuing an advertisement that's in breach. The final quick note about working together, we're working with other regulators, as you've heard, to share intelligence and concerns, to take a robust, consistent approach to protect members of society from inappropriate advertising, particularly the most vulnerable. And we've just heard from Duncan and Ros, of course, talking about the importance of assessing the capacity of a patient. So I just wanted to end by reflecting on the example of weight loss, really, and the current media and societal narrative around body image. I think there's a responsibility to ensure that those potential patients who are seeking your help with their health are able to access that support appropriately. And we're here to try and help you achieve that. So some links here for you to have a look at in your own time that should support that provision of that service.